5 years to 7 years, and for the same president to enjoy those changes, there must be two referendums. And these two referendums did not take place. So essentially, it's an illegal law. What now for Zimbabwe? I think it's more misery because Zimbabwe's political problems always manifest themselves through the economy. We have 95% unemployment. We do not have 24-hour electricity. Roads are potholed. Hospitals do not have the equipment required or medication. 2,500 women die every year giving birth. And as a result, you find that, according to the South African government, 70% of women that give birth in Musina are from Zimbabwe because of that. But more importantly, the immigration marches that are taking place today in South Africa. And one of the root causes of the crisis that has been created in South Africa is a lack of good governance in Zimbabwe and, of course, countries like Mozambique. But since we're talking about Zimbabwe, you should expect another avalanche of people coming into South Africa, both legally and illegally, because when things are not working, it is human nature for people to cross borders and find a better life.
And you've described the developments in Zimbabwe as a regional issue. I mean, in South Africa's case, as you say, you expect that the further entrenchment, shall we say, of the ZANU-PF and President Mnangagwa in power is going to, in fact, drive a further surge of people who may come to South Africa to seek services or to stay, either legally or illegally, which has been the ongoing debate. If it is a regional issue, then what should countries like South Africa and other neighbors be doing? Can they do anything about the situation? Because over the last, let's say, 30 years, they've demonstrated very little will to act beyond statements of condemnation and calls for dialogue.
Yes, countries like South Africa and other countries within SADC can do a lot more than they have done. They've deliberately chose to take a backseat. In fact, President Ramaphosa flew to Zimbabwe and assured President Mnangagwa that if the changes that are taking place are done legally, South Africa has no problem with that. And he went further to assure him that they will not tolerate a coup taking place in Zimbabwe because of these changes. And what could they do? Well, we've got a precedent. In 1998, President Frederick Chiluba, the late president of Zambia, tried to do the same thing by abrogating the constitution and having a third term. The leaders of the region met. A story was told a few weeks ago by former South African President Thabo Mbeki that they met and they decided that amongst themselves, the one who was than all of them was President Mugabe of Botswana, and he was sent to Zambia to speak to President Frederick Chiluba and told categorically that they will not accept the abrogation of the constitution. And it worked. Chiluba did not extend the constitution. He was then succeeded by President Levi Mwanawasa. The same cannot be said today because the South African president is in good books with President Mnangagwa, good books that he has failed to use to put pressure on his counterparts to explain that abrogation of the constitution creates more problems politically, not just in Zimbabwe, but also in South Africa, in Botswana, in Namibia, where a lot of Zimbabweans have been going to, trying to make sure that they look after their families.
Right.
So if more people come into South Africa, it means there are more immigration problems and flashpoints in South Africa.
It sounds to me then that you're saying, based on the regional political alliances at a political level between the governments, the people of Zimbabwe then find themselves on their own. There are now these calls for mass mobilization, a public pressure campaign, possibly protests against this amendment that's been made. There is also talk of going to court to challenge it. Do you think any of those efforts will amount to anything, given the history of Zimbabwe?
Well, if the organizers of any protests are able to bring people onto the streets, yes, it will cause problems for Emmerson Mnangagwa, and it will create a big political crisis, not just for Zimbabwe, but for the region, and it will affect South Africa. these things affect investment because whenever there is political uncertainty in a country or in a region, it affects business. And in terms of the judiciary in Zimbabwe is in President Mnangagwa's pocket is captured. So I do not see much coming out of the judiciary unless if the court cases are backed up by protests on the streets, which I doubt very much will be able to be done unless if the military in Zimbabwe does what it did in 2017 and assures people that there won't be any violence meted against them. You remember that in August 2018, when protesters went onto the streets of Zimbabwe, about 7 Zimbabweans were shot with live ammunition.
It was predictable. But now that we have this situation here, the thing is signed, or at least if I start from the time ZANU-PF proposed it and we're rushing it through the consultation phase, when all that was happening, there was no doubt about it being signed, and there was nothing we could do about it then. The best way I think should have happened was, okay, let's sit this one out, call the bluff. When the thing is done, then we have legitimacy of resisting. And it's so now cha approaching it. An illegal law has been put into place. An illegal law simply means kuti, the guy doesn't care and he's waiting for you to do something. That's what it means. So therefore, courts are not an option because this cab 3 is just the culmination of what happened in cab 1 and cab 2. Courts achibiwa paya, and then now we've got cab 3. So this was a whole process, and then now so don't hope on the courts, don't hope on dialogue. As we have heard, yeah, Anozan Ramaphosa already came and said, "Ah, Boang, Bo and Ku are supposed to be Saka what say. Saka, there's only one conversation to have. Are we going to step out and activate our Section 59 rights, or we are going to let it happen? That is the only thing that's going to happen here. This is not a mistake, or this is not like touch the constitution, the law, or the constitution, how it works and whatever. It's not a mistake. It's very deliberate, very calculated, and now they are now sharpening their knives, loading their ammo, and waiting for anyone to make a move. What move can we make? We obviously can't sharpen guns and knives, but we can go on the street. We can be courageous, go on the street. And before we do that, there are so many other things we can do. We passive resistance moves that we can do. We can boycott. We can do also things. We can start to gather momentum towards that direction. But without that, Pakaipa. The only challenge now, if you go into the political circles, people are beginning to say that, but they still want to explore the avenue of going to court, which is a necessary step, I guess. But I don't think we should hope on that because that will have two effects. One, it'll hold back people who really want to get onto the streets, and two, it will further legitimize this move. One stand up court and the both judges and the staff judges by Mnangagwa will just rule in favor of Mnangagwa, obviously. And then now it's legitimized. Now it's the law. Now when Sada comes, but the constitutional court can decide that Saka, and the people are not protesting on it, are not objecting to this. In any case, Saka Chitori Bo, obviously there are few noises here and there. That's what they'll say. And because no one wants to be caught up in some regional halabaloo, kungesaketa ichilema papa election, wakubata wakususurudwa on street. Hypothetically. Um, no one will want to touch it because it's a hot potato. And once you get your hands into it, getting out of it becomes a problem because you might just create some kind of instability, and no one wants to touch that. So the ball is in our court. The ball is ours to play, and if we don't play it the right way, this is it, guys. Like Oppo said, Sanupief is there for a long, foreseeable future, maybe 10 more years, maybe 20. But if I land, I think conversations should now start. Tourists say with what we have, in who we have, which area can we attack? Which thing can we pull down one by one, bit by bit, piece by piece? Doesn't have to be one big protest that can come later, but then there have to be meaningful movements and meaningful actions towards now pulling down this illegal act in this kleptocratic regime or murderous regime rather. Uh, yeah, I'll stop there for now.
Yeah, that's powerful. She did travel. 1 minute, then I'll go to another video. Jenny, can you hear me? Otherwise, maybe Jenny can.
I can hear you. I'm not sure what's happening to the other guys, but if no one is speaking, so further to what are the consequences for Zimbabwe's future? Uh, I mean, the consequences have already happened. We're already living in them. There's no need to wait. It's democratic erosion, which has already happened, economic collapse, which has already happened. Uh, the regime now will have have tighter screws on the population than they have now. Of which you can't imagine them being tighter, but trust me, they can, because now there's a new because Munangagwa is old, he's on his way up. There's a new branch of guys who want to pop in and fill in the vacancies and so forth. And new greedy people simply means that vakutanga kubva kuzero. Saka vakutanga kutoti tanga kumora from scratch, and the pain is gonna be even more. Even though I mean the pain we are feeling now, unfortunately, can get worse, but it's already unbearable pain that we're suffering here. So, from a political, social perspective, we are already living in it. From an economic standpoint, I think we're already living in it as well. We're already living in it. We're already suffering from it. We are already not in our country because some of us can live in that, yeah, it's like I told you, say, yeah, brown paper bag, who's a bag. That kind of environment does not just suit some of us, and so forth. So this is the end. And whatever hope there was in a democratic process achieving, if there ever was, uh, has now disappeared forever. This is the cementing of a dictatorship, because now that they can do this, Nangagwa or perhaps the next person is going to say, go 7 years, which I say, "Coach, let's just let's just go the whole mile until the day I die," and legitimize that and put it into the constitution. But as my term limits is let's just get rid of it all the way. And the population won't rise against us. They're too scared. So this is where we are going. This is where we are already, and this is the future of Zimbabwe. And that means me as a Zimbabwean, I can no longer be anywhere in the world and stand proudly. I can no longer do that. I can say I'm proud of Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls, Chakati Chakati, and all these things, but I cannot stand there proud as a citizen of a nation that is prosperous, that is great, that has a good democracy or political system that actually functions. So it's disgrace. It's an embarrassment. It's just horrifying to imagine. We just need to do what is necessary. How we're gonna do that? We can talk about that and figure out how we're gonna get the whole country to act in unison. But I think everybody knows what needs to happen, and I think we need to do that at the earliest date possible. Anything.
Kuti, you were calling me. I was like busy doing my let me do my contributions here. I was listening to, when I was just doing my tickets, I was listening to Hope Ngono. Unaita BP uchinzwa zvirikuitika kuSouth Africa nezviri muZimbabwe and all that. Woshaya kuti munotangira nepapi. saka indi kukubvunzawo mukoma Scott kuti iwe unotaura nahope wechingono, can't you hope wechingono go and see this old man vachienda namadhuku, vachienda nabiti, vachienda nani zvakare nama-war veterans, and then they go and meet Chiwenga, and then come up with the answers for us. Kuti hope laenda hanoona vanhu ivavo. I was thinking so deeply into that, can't we do something about our country? Can we just keep quiet? Just like that? The answer is no. We have to do something within ourselves. We have to really get some directions. What is it? Where we're going to start? How and who can move that movement? And yesterday night, I was thinking about again our friends from South Africa. They are willing to help, and if they are willing to help, is there any way the conference can be done, and then the march will be done when these South Africans are there, and then Hopo is there, Chiwenga is there, the war veterans are there. I don't know. This is my thinking. I don't know. Just my head is like spinning. I'm sorry to say this, but it's true. Think about whatever we want to do back home, business wise and all that, we cannot because of the situation which is happening right now. So I'm only asking you, Scotty, but can you talk now regarding about what I've said? Thank you.
Kenny, do you want to respond to that? Urumkoma John. Anzi ndinofana kutaura nahopo ero kuti wanoenda kumita Chiwenga. I don't know if my sister there heard you correctly.
Uh, uh, that's not gonna happen. The talking phases are over, and I don't know. My good brother Dr. Masai has repeatedly come here and said he's a very politically astute guy. That one, you won't believe, and the running around he does is incredible. But anyway, Konotalana Chiwenga, Chiwenga is not our friend. He is not there to save us. He can't save us, and he won't save us. Even if he was to remove Mnangagwa, his fight is not for us. It's already, how much evidence do we need? 2017, he was there. He was the orchestrator of this thing, or at least the executor of it. Took over power. All he did was health minister. You saw what happened. Doctors were completely eradicated as their significance was eradicated in Zimbabwe. Among other things, horrifying things he's done. A man that can do such a thing to his own wife or mother of his children, at the very least, no matter what she did, or who's capable of such things. Omba Mati, Kalana Chiwenga, Atibati. It's not going to happen. That's
You're
a dream
mixing
we
things
must just.
now. You're mixing things. His marriage
I
has nothing to do with the politics.
no, I mean, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you the kind of
I'm saying
person that he
this.
is. The kind of person that he is not the kind of person that's going to come and save the country, or at least remove Mnangagwa for our sake.
He's the one who
He's
put
there in power.
Mnangagwa, so he has to take Mnangagwa out.
No, that can never happen. We should never place hope in that. He is part of that establishment. As vice president of, there's so many things he could have done subtly to help us somehow, some way. He didn't. He was health minister. He could have done something to help the doctors there, and by so doing, help the citizens. At least have a decent fleet of doctors in the country treating us. But no, he didn't care about that. Among other things, he is implicated in Gukura Hondi, etc. He is not there to save us. We should get the thing is
His
our baby. This
parents,
is
his
our baby
parents,
now.
his parents, Shiri, who did the Kura Undi. Don't mix up the two.
It's the same gang. He was a general, was he not? He was in the army, was he not? A key figure, was he not? He was there. Uh, in the Chambanga files, his name is there, is mentioned, doing some ordering some grievous things. So Ari Moimomo, and we can't expect such person. The baby is ours now. Let's get on the streets. Let's save our country. Us, me and you. How do we do that? Is the conversation. Chiwenga will never save us, even
And
if he removes
Chiwenga
borders.
Denise, even quiet, even now, you understand? Why
Mm.
if you think he can save, why is not even saying no to 2030 or we don't want? Just tell Mnanga what you restore our constitutional amendment. Be honest. What it does is speak on parables. You understand? So
The whole thing could be a hoax, even. The whole thing could be also maybe people start looking at Chiwenga as some kind of thing, and then it will pacify us. And while we wait for Chiwenga to make his move, if he really wanted to make a move, because he's got the power to do so, he does have it. He would have done that a long time ago. A
My
long time ago.
message was Scotty talking to to uh to Opocho and
I'm not
Opocho
going to
will
do
give
that. I'm not. I'm not going to do that.
why.
Why must I do that?
Kungobunza that is their idea. My ideas are anova kwari.
Oppo will block him immediately.
Never. Never.
Okay,
Not
let
Scotty.
him
Never.
let him ever go then.
You can't do
Nah.
that even if we don't block you, Adin. You can't do that. No, I'm not
You can't do
that
that.
dumb.
Yeah, yeah, you can't do that.
I'm
It
not
doesn't make
stupid.
sense. The conversation is get onto the street. How we do that, we can discuss that. The conversation is how can we chip away the nuclear power if we can't get on the street immediately? How do we tackle A and B and C and D? How do we tackle everything? Should we do stayaways? Should we do passive resistance? Should we symbolically just take our IDs and tell them go department kwema ID tongowakandira mapepa watoti kana makuda todzokera kumba edu. These are the kind of things that are going to save us. Uh, courts, press statements, and so forth. Unfortunately, the leadership has no appetite for it in opposition. Totara now, totara now, an appetite, but they know what needs to be done. They know it's the only way, it's the only thing to be done, but they just don't have an appetite for it. So how do we, isus patotanga, even if it's online versus singaita say, it should be all, at Rwangan pana 400 of us, just go onto a ZANU PF page and start blasting them and gather momentum from there. I don't know. Right now, these are the kind of conversations we need to be having of resistance. Zetana guy, I'm sorry, not resistance, pano. Back to that resistance. The country is gone. This whole thing is not a mistake. They didn't misinterpret the law. They didn't make an error in understanding how the constitution works. They just called, they just bluffed us. But okay, taisa about saka mchaita say, saka dopa chiri panapa, saka chichaita say. Tena court yakatorowa kudhara in cab one. Yakatoenda kudhara, it's gone. In cab two, zvese, all the courts, any other institution that makes sense, we can try to rally behind, it's gone. The noisemakers, they are gone within the states and in governments at Sombotawa. In parliament, the parliament is gone. Senate is gone. Any other institution you can think of is gone. There's that law they did in my NGO. When you put everything together, you map. If you map it from 1970, when they were saying one party state, they finally achieved it. So how do we move from here? Resistance, resistance. The streets. It would be good if we could arrange ourselves, get identifiable leadership, not as people who hero worship, but people who I can be a center, a pinnacle where we can just gather and mobilize and put one strong trust. But as we know, hapana, the leadership is fragmented. The brave one is stuck in South Africa dealing with all sorts of legal. The one I believe is capable of such things. At least he's stuck in South Africa dealing with legal wars and whatever, in all sorts of things. So patiri panapa, GD travel, my fellows in Zimbabweans, tingaita sei kuti tikoromotse ZANU-PF pachigaba and know that any other avenue is not going to work other than of actual resistance, stairways, protests, um, passive resistance, different acts of just refusing to act. Kana ngoti nyika yese achabhadhare mari yekanzo kana kuti achabhadhare magetsi or atende basa we are just going to feed each other in our gardens wanachirima muriwo vachipanana huka kusika chiwanwaya. I don't know, but the fact of the matter is, if we don't do that, the country it's gone already, to be honest. But it can no longer be saved because the longer we wait, what it's going to take to save it is going to be even more. In Somalia, they went through the same phase, only quicker. Wakangono zvichiitika izvozvo, and then they try to resist, they try to courts vakadididi courts zikaramba, and until they went to war and the country can't be put together again. You can't put Somalia back together again. But there are people like us. Yes,
Then
Leti.
you
I
have
was
to do
waiting
it.
for you.
You have to do it systematically. So let's take everything off the board. Yeah. And we ask ourselves fundamental questions here. And the first fundamental question, because for one to take a path, you have to first know that the path works. You understand what I'm saying? For one to do a formula, yeah, you have to understand that the formula works. It's very difficult to do a formula when you are in doubt of the formula. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Or you do not know whether the formula works. So look at it like a moving from point A to point B, but the question that you're having is which direction are you going to take? Are you going to take the north, the east, the south, or the west? You have to. The decision to take the north is not guesswork. It should not be guesswork. You should know that the north is one that is going to move you from Bulawayo to Harare, and I'm going to pass here, 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 and those become your checkpoints to confirm that you're still going on the right direction. So we have to go through the basics now. What are the choices in front of us to start with? Yeah. And the choices in front of us to start with are three choices. Number one, it is armed struggle. We put that on the table. Number two, it is the elections that
Sorry,
include.
Seth.
Yes.
Sorry to disturb you. I wanted to say something before you go into that.
Okay.
For me, I think the first thing that we need, especially here on this platform, is to accept that we don't know what to do. Because we still have this idea that we can all speak and suggest things that we think work, and yet we don't even have appreciation of what just happened. That it can happen and then we can just look on the other side and continue to talk about other things. What you're explaining now, Zeti, Masi said it almost 6 weeks ago. We've got map readers who know to read. That when there's a key that says old gum tree plantation, you might go through there thinking you are going to see tall trees, and you think you are not there because you don't know how to read the map. When are we going to say, sorry, Masi, we didn't listen to you? Sorry, Zeti, at this point, we need you to talk to us properly. Because we still have this idea of thinking that we all know. Danny, saying we all know that we need to go into the streets is not good enough, because it's not about going into the streets. And we keep saying that, and someone will print a poster and say, let us meet at Africa Unit Square. And then we are in trouble. So when are we going to accept that we've got a serious issue and we don't know how to do, what to do, and can we please ask for help? And we know the people who have been telling us this, and we've been saying no. And until we accept that, you can go ahead with what you wanted to explain, but someone is going to interrupt you and say they also want to speak. They have a different suggestion. So we need to proclaim our ignorance on this subject, that we don't know where to start. We know that what has been voted for is not just an extension of Mnangagwa's term, it's an extension of our suffering. The risk of your loved one who is back home to take a journey that is 50 kilometers and not come back is going to continue. And we choose to ignore all of those things. Why? Because I've got the button to raise my hand and also want to speak. Oh, Zed, you have run out of time. Your 4 minutes is done. So I don't know if we can jump into the options that we have. But until we address each other on some of these things, we continue to waste time. We owe these people apologies, thinking we can come toe to toe with them. Every time she comes up, she always presents way better than you. And you think you will say, no, she mustn't speak. Now she's tired. What must we do now? Continue with our nonsense talking about stupid phones. Continue with the nonsense of yesterday talking about Chinese all day. And yet we've got a house on fire. I lost a friend 2 weeks ago in a stupid car accident. He left 3 daughters. An accident that can be avoided because we've got serious, and people will come here and tell you, oh, they've trabablas. There are projects in Zimbabwe. We need to swallow our pride, ladies and gentlemen. This is not games play. This is not jokes. We are playing with our loved ones' lives and our lives as well, thinking that I just want an opportunity to speak. You can't read the map. You don't know what needs to happen right now. Someone is calling people to meet on the 31st, and people are going to be arrested, and we're going to be talking about, can we help people in prison? Because we don't know what to do. And when we say we are going there because we don't want Mnangagwa's law, if he removes it, and then what? We celebrate. Is that what we are asking for? If they say, okay, we have withdrawn the gazetted act, it's not there. Well done, ZANU-PF, for upholding the law. Is that going to change your life of your cousin who's back home?
You can come through, Penny.
Okay, thank you so much. So we've been asking each other, and we've tried to say, encouraging people to let's go and march, and people don't care. They don't come out. And we've been asked how best are we going to do it. Sometimes I go and read, kuti, but how did South Africans do it? Even Zimbabweans, how did these guys overcome Ian Smith? They didn't go in the streets so much. They organized small little groups, not about the whole big groups, guys. The minute we're expecting 1 million people to come out, if a few small groups organize something and it goes through, and there is a sign that, yes, people are not happy. This is why this happened. And the next thing again, we've got a Secunda refinery, we've got a Chinoi, what. You know what I'm talking about. The Hamas is going to gain confidence to say, oh, okay, this is what's happening. Even the children that went out kuhondo, havana kusumuka nebhazi one rayenda kuhondo. People started from their different places where they were going because they heard that something was happening. They saw the signs of something that was happening, and they started joining. So we're not going to be expecting people to join when there's nothing happening. We will need a few selected people to start become invisible but visible. Our actions should speak to the whole world, not only the Mnangagwas and everyone. Whatever actions that we are going to do, if South Africans could do a Secunda refinery, Zimbabweans can also find something to do. It's all I have to say. Bye-bye.
You need to stop, guys. You need to stop thinking that South Africans are what you're about to embark on is not. South Africa has never embarked on it. Stop comparing yourself to people that are doing protests in a democratic nation.
I'm not comparing. I said we can learn.
No, we can't learn anything. There's nothing you can learn from South Africans.
We can learn so much.
No, this is what we're talking about with ONCAP.
Okay.
You don't know what you're talking about. Hold on. Before you ask me, you do not know what you're talking about.
Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yes. I want to understand what
I'll tell you countries you can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
And South Africa is not one of that country.
Okay, which other countries can we learn from?
Nepal. Nepal is the latest country that just did what you want to do. Look at what Nepal did last year. Yeah? Look at that country. No. You saw the news. Now go and look at, because now you want to learn. You don't want to just read news.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference here between a protest